Hello students, welcome to English Classroom. Today's topic for our English classroom is motivational skills and goal setting from Unit 1 of Semester 1. You all know that for employment, soft skills is an essential skill that you need to have. So today we'll be learning about what is motivational skills, right? What are the different types of motivational skills and which motivational skills do we need to acquire? Then we will move on to goal setting, because once motivation and goal setting work hand in hand. And then we will look into what is goal setting and what are the steps that we need to follow and how we can achieve our goals, right? To begin with, let me start with a small anecdote about the elephant and the rope. Once a man was walking nearby to a group of elephants that were tied up by one small rope. Now he wondered that why couldn't these elephants that were so strong could just break that and get their freedom. He was puzzled, and he saw that the trainer of the elephants was sitting there, and he expressed his puzzled state of mind. The trainer said when they were very young and much smaller, they used that size of rope to tie them, and that at that age it was enough to hold them. Now, as they grew up, the elephants were conditioned to believe that they cannot break away. They believe that the rope can still hold them, right? So, what he says is that we need to the moral of the story is that it is the false belief of the elephants that denied their freedom. Likewise, many of you students who are not trying to work towards success in your life because you failed once before, or there are many people who think like this. So this story tells us that keep on trying and don't get tied up with some false belief of failure. Now, why did I tell you this story? Now, this story is here to tell you that we give up because we don't motivate ourselves from time to time. Motivation is essential for us to have success in our life. Now, look at this picture. There are three pictures in this picture. One, a bird is trying to make a small nest, right? And then we see that a small boy who was hurt while trying to learn to ride a bicycle still learned to ride a bicycle. And there is another boy who is working hard to study to excel in his exams. Now, what do we understand from this picture? We know that all the three, the bird is trying to build a nest because it is the need for her. The need is the motivation for the bird to build a nest to live in it. Next, the boy, despite being injured, has learned to cycle because that was his desire. And in the third picture, the student is studying hard to excel in his exams. So with this, we understand that we put efforts because we are motivated to learn. So what is motivation? Motivation is an internal force to achieve a goal, a reason for doing something. Something as a need or as a desire that causes a person to act, right? So if we have to define motivation, it is derived from a Latin word which means to move. Move means to move. Now, motivation activates you. It gets you going. It maintains, that is, it keeps you going, and it determines where you're going. It's not that you get motivated, you start and it's over. No, your motivation has to keep going till you achieve the goal. And the best part of it is that motivation can be learned. You can acquire this skill. We also happen to see in our lives that sometimes a very below average student, when he gets motivated, can outperform an intelligent student. So see how important motivation is in one's life. Now, motivation works at two levels. One is at personal level and the other is at workplace. Now, why do we need motivation at personal level? We need motivation at personal level to make things happen. Every day, every hour, every week, every month, we need motivation to do something. Example, I want to eat a nice biryani. I need motivation to prepare a good biryani, right? So motivation helps to achieve our personal goals. Motivation helps in self-development of an individual. And if an individual is motivated, then whatever they want to do, they will get satisfaction, right? Because they are doing it out of their will. And most of all, motivation generates, it is goal directed behavior. It generates goal directed behavior. So these are the reasons why, which help motivation at personal level. Now, at workplace, an employer, while employing, always tries to see whether you are self-motivated, whether you have the potential to motivate the team, right? Because motivation improves level of efficiency of employees, right? Due to that, it increases in productivity, it improves overall efficiency. Motivate, if a person is if an employee is motivated, the employee will build a cordial relationship with his co-part workers, and interpersonal relationships will be developed. And employees, motivated employees will remain loyal to their enterprise. So these are the reasons that can help motivation at workplace. Now, one thing we should remember, that motivation is a continuous process. It is an unending process. Today, all the scientists are motivated to find a vaccine for COVID-19 because we are all facing great threat with this COVID-19. So every day, every minute, we need to get motivated to do whatever we want to do, right? Now, I had to get motivated to make a beautiful PPT to make you understand what motivation is, right? So it is, if once, now this is an unending process, because if one need is satisfied, another need will appear, right? Now, next is, there are different types of motivation. Basically, the two important types of motivation is intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation, right? Now, what is intrinsic motivation? Now, look at this picture. Every one of us, now we know that most of the students dread with math. Now, if a teacher wants a student to learn math with interest, then what does the teacher do? The teacher will teach math by having the student add up the prices of his favorite toys. Or I would give, if someone is a chocolate lover, I would give chocolates and ask them to add up. Similarly, give a kid a choice as to what they can study, the way they will be learning what they want to learn. What they want to do, if you give them the choice, they will do it with intrinsic motivation, because they are doing something they want to do. So what you do out of your own interest is intrinsic motivation. Now, what is extrinsic motivation? Now look at this picture. In this picture, you know that a competition that encourages the performer to win and to beat others. So you are trying to do your best moves to win and compete, right? Similarly, look at this picture. In this picture, you are running the race because the external motivation is to have the trophy, to win a trophy. And in the class, you are working very hard to get good marks because you want to get A plus. Now, A plus is the external force that is motivating you. So this is extrinsic motivation, right? So now I'll give you a very beautiful example to know the real difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Look at this picture. In this picture, we can see that the two boys are playing a football game. Now, one boy is playing this game to win the trophy, right? Now, the other boy is playing the game because he loves playing the game. So the boy who is playing the game because he loves playing the game is called as intrinsic motivation, right? He is not looking for rewards. He is looking for his own satisfaction. So he's playing the game. Whereas the boy who is playing to win the cup is playing, it is called extrinsic motivation because he wants to perform better to get this cup. This cup is motivating him to play better. So this is the difference between extrinsic and intrinsic. So if we have to explain what is the difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation, intrinsic motivation is the drive within you to accomplish a goal or task, right? You choose to complete a task because it has personal meaning for you and gives you pleasure. And remember, when you have a goal, when you want to do something out of intrinsic motivation, it is easier for you to accomplish your goal because you're doing it out of love, right? Whereas extrinsic motivation, most of the students, they are studying hard because their parents want them to get A plus. Now it is not their will, their interest is not there. It is because the teachers are pushing them. It is because the parents are forcing them. Here, however, if you are only motivated by someone else's desire, you get 80% only. 80% only you can achieve. It is more difficult to achieve the goal if it is from extrinsic. Always, it should be a intrinsic motivation. So with this, we understand that intrinsic motivation is motivation that is driven by an interest and that it exists within ourselves. And extrinsic motivation is that which comes from the outside of an individual. Is it clear? So this is the difference between intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. Now we also know that students have two controls in them, that is internal locus of control and external locus of control. Now what is this internal control? Believe that these students who have that internal control believe that the academic success depends on how they work. They try to make the best of a situation and they believe that they are the one who can create their destiny, and they're always positive about their schoolwork, about their exams, about what they're learning from their teachers. Whereas students with external locus of control believe that events are due to fate or chance or luck. They're always trying to find some reasons to show that why they have not achieved success in their life. They always think negative about life and college. So they always rely on external motivation. Now, students who depend on extrinsic motivation who are continually performing for extrinsic motivation can become, after a certain period of time, can become resentful, resistant, and disinterested. This extrinsic motivation can only push you to some extent, but after that, you will lose interest. So extrinsic motivation is not advisable for students. It is always better to have an internal locus of control because you believe that you create and control events in your life and you can change things for better. So always one should try to develop intrinsic motivation in them, right? Now, let me give you a beautiful anecdote about KFC. I think every one of you have heard about KFC, right? The real story of the owner of KFC who was disappointed many times in his life, right? But he was continuously, he had a goal to make something in his life and he motivated himself. Intrinsic motivation was there continuously in him. Despite many failures, he did not give up. That was because he wanted, his goal came out of intrinsic motivation. So whatever goals come out of intrinsic motivation, it is easier for a person to achieve despite failures. So he was the owner of KFC, was a seventh grade dropout, and he tried many ventures in his life, but tasted bitter every time. He started selling chicken at his age of 40, but his dream of a restaurant was turned down due to wars. Later, he attempted to franchise his restaurant, right? But his recipe got rejected 1009 times before it was finally approved. Can any one of us survive for such a long time with so many failures? Well, one can survive if their goal is intrinsically motivated. So, intrinsic motivation is very, very important, and we have to develop that. Do things out of love, not by somebody's force. So, later, when his recipe got uh, accepted, it has become the famous Kentucky Fried Chicken, and it became a huge hit worldwide. So KFC was expanded globally, and the company was sold for $2 million, and his face is still celebrated in the logo. So KFC is a good example for intrinsic motivation. So we need to have intrinsic motivation in our life. And the moral from this story is that, have you stopped your attempts to a venture just because you were rejected or failed a few times? Can you even accept a failure for 1009 times? Yes. This story tells us that no matter how many times we are rejected, we can still keep our aim going if we have intrinsic motivation, if we try to achieve our goal from within us, right? So despite so many failures, they have achieved success. we can you can also know about the great legend actor Amitabh Bachchan. He was rejected many times, but his intrinsic motivation was to become an actor. Because of that intrinsic motivation, no matter how many rejections had come in his life, he gained success. So students, all you have to do is that develop this intrinsic motivation. Do whatever you do with your interest, with love towards that goal, right? Not because somebody has said to do. Now the next question that you might ask is, where to find motivation? Now, motivation is all around us. You just have to know where to work, right? Everywhere you can find motivation. It is only your desire, your interest that will show you how you can get self-motivated. So with this, what we learn from this? We learn that motivation is very, very important, and in every phase of our life, we need to be motivated. Today, because of this motivation to find a vaccine, there are so many companies coming up. Every day I am listening to the news that Russia is coming up with a medicine, UK is coming up with a medicine. See, everybody is motivated to find, for the sake of humanity, everybody is motivated to find a vaccine to stop this pandemic. So this is because they're able to come up with this medicine within a short time because of intrinsic motivation, right? Now, we all know that motivation, once you have this intrinsic motivation, then you can set up your goal. And remember, motivation and goal setting go hand in hand, right? So to start with goal setting, again, I will start with a beautiful anecdote of Manji the Mountain Man. Now, there was a movie also on this man. Now, this man lived in a very remote village where the village was cut off from the main town by a very huge mountain. And if somebody had to fell sick and they had to reach to the other end, they had to go the roundabout way. And by the time they went to the hospitals, people died. So what they would do, they would take the route of this mountain, but this mountain was very dangerous, and many would slip and die. So once this Manji's wife was sick, and they had to cross the mountain. So while crossing the mountain, his wife slipped and she passed away. Now, Manji, out of sheer rage that because of this mountain that his wife died, he did not want this to happen to others. He set on a quest to carve a road through the mountain. He just took one chisel and one hammer to go and make a way to part the two mountains. People laughed at him, that they thought he went mad because his wife died, and that is the reason he is not able, he is doing such mad things. But he had an intrinsic motivation within him, and he had a goal, he had a plan, he had a purpose that nobody should suffer like how his wife suffered. So with that purpose, with that goal, with that planning, he went on chiseling the mountain, and it took, I think, approximately some 26 years or something. But finally he separated the impossible into possible, right? He separated the mountains and he made a way. So that is what is one's goal should be. If you are intrinsically motivated, then you can achieve whatever goal it is, no matter how impossible the goal might be. You can achieve that goal. So what is goal setting? If we look at this example, we learn that a goal is a desired that a person result that a person achieves and commits to achieve it. Goal setting involves the development of an action plan designed to motivate and guide a person or group towards a goal. Now, goal setting is nothing but it is the first step in turning the invisible into the visible. And that is what the mountain man did. That was the first step, that he made a goal that is, which is invisible, that he can break the two mountains and make a road. So turning the invisible into the visible is goal setting, right? So do you understand what goal setting is? So now the next question you might ask is, why setting goal? Now, goal setting is very, very important because it gives us long-term vision and short-term motivation, right? Now, it focuses, now when you have goal, only then your urge to acquire knowledge is more. If there is no goal, why do you come to college? You have come to college, you want to do this degree because you have a goal, right? So it will help you organize your time, your resources, so that you can make the very most of your life. It allows you to measure your progress because you always have a fixed endpoint or benchmark to compare with. So goals help you achieve your dreams, right? So that is the reason we need to have goals. Now, there are two types of goals. That is short-term goal and long-term goal. Now, what is a short-term goal? Short-term goal is something that you want to do in the near future. Now, yesterday, my short-term goal was to prepare a PPT and make an interesting class for you on motivational skills and goal setting, right? My long-term goal will be to see that in the coming 3 years, I will see that you develop your communication skills and make you equipped with all the employability skills so that you can go and live in your life with better prospects. So this is short-term and this is long-term goals, right? Long-term goals can take a long time, right? So short-term goals can be for today, for this week, for this month, this year, right? Next question that you may ask is how to set goals. Now, what should my goal be? How should I achieve the goal? What you need to do is that set your goal, make your plan, get to work, stick to it and reach. To tell in more detail, let us see what we can do, how to set a goal. First thing that you have to do is that when you want to set a goal, put some questions to yourself. What are my dreams for the future? What do I want to be? Why am I attending this college? Right? Then make a plan. Remember, a goal without a plan is just a wish, right? So you have to make a plan. You need a plan for every goal to be achieved. Now, how to set goals? Now, to set a goal, what is most important is you need to have the correct frame of mind. Now, what is frame of mind? Now, let us take the first letters of this word frame and I will tell you F. F is fantasize, dream. Dream what you want to be for the next 1 year. Dream what you want to be for the next 5 years. Dream what kind of a person you want to be. Then R for reality. Now, think of how you can make your fantasies become reality. How you're going to work out to turn this fantasy, to turn this dream into reality. To do that, A for aim. Define your goals by striking a balance between fantasy and reality. Set up high but realistic goals. Then M for method. Now try to choose which method you are going to follow to achieve your goal, which road you are going to follow to achieve your goal. Whom are you going to ask help to reach that goal? And the last E is evaluation. You need to evaluate yourself from time to time. Evaluation should go on and just keep checking, not at the end, but keep checking whether you are going in the right direction or not. So there are certain steps that you need to follow to achieve your goal. That is, first is identify your goal. Second is set your objectives. Third is list obstacles. What are the obstacles that you're going to face when you're going to reach your goal? Develop a plan. Plan A, if it fails, plan B. What are the skills that you need to acquire to reach this goal? Identify the people whom you can seek help for. And the last is question, ask yourself, what is the benefit of this goal? Why I am having this goal? What is the purpose of this goal? Right? Now, the next question that can come is that we can have goals, but see, always you find that a student is studying day in and day out, right? And another student is nicely playing, enjoying, and then he's also studying, but giving only limited time for study. And at the end of the day, you find that the person who has given limited time for study has scored better than a person who had been studying day in and day out. Now, this is because the goal was, both the students' goal was to get A plus. But the person who got A plus had a smart goal, whereas the other person had a general goal. So when you make your goal should be smart. Now, what is smart goal? Smart goal is S for specific, your goal should be specific. M for measurable, your goal should be measurable. A for attainable, your goal should be attainable. R for relevant, your goal should be relevant. And T for time bound, your goal should be time bound. Now, you can ask me, how should I know that this goal is, what is specific goal? How should I make a specific goal? Now, a specific goal has a much greater chance of being accomplished than a general goal. So to make a specific goal, I'll give you a small tip. That is, you have to have 6 W questions. What do I want to accomplish? Who is involved? Where should I start from? When will I complete this? Which things do I need? And what are the problems that I'm going to face? Then last is, why this specific goal? What is the purpose? What is the benefit of achieving this goal? So if you answer these 6 questions, 6 W questions, then that means your goal is specific, right? Then your goal should be measurable. To determine if your goal is measurable, ask how much, how many, how will I know when it is accomplished, right? Then your goal should be attainable. Now let us give this. Today, pandemic COVID vaccine is important. People said you cannot achieve because it is very big. It will take many years for a vaccine to come. But scientists have not given up hope. They have made their planning. So they said, what earlier research we have done, from that we are going to work out and we are going to make a vaccine. So, when your goals are attainable goals, even though it is very difficult, you can achieve. And very recently I've been reading that Russia is coming up with a medicine. UK is going to give positive results today. So, anything that is difficult and impossible also can become possible only if your goals are attainable, right? They will shrink. The time span has shrunk to us, not because of that, but because we grow, expand, and match to that. The scientists have grown, they expanded, and they were matching to that. And that is the reason this is the first time that so fast a vaccine is coming out. So your goal should be attainable. Next is that goals should be realistic. Now, to be realistic, a goal must represent an objective towards which you are both willing and able to work. Don't have goals which you are not willing and which you are not able to work. So, to know if your goals are realistic, ask questions like, do I really believe that this goal can be accomplished? Have I accomplished anything similar in the past? Can I identify the conditions that would exist, right? Then your goal should have time limit. Remember, if you don't have time limit, you can achieve nothing, right? So someday won't work. You must have a time frame. And once you set your time, then unconsciously your mind is into motion to begin working on the goal. Then T also stands for tangible. A goal should be tangible. Now, how should I know if it is tangible? Any experience that can touch one of your senses, that is taste, touch, smell, sight, or hearing, is tangible. So when your goal is tangible, you have a better chance of making it specific and measurable and thus attainable. So to make a SMART goal, decide what you want, work on the problems that are going to come, visualize how you are going to achieve your goal, and decide what road you are going to take. And lastly, ask yourself, is this really important? If it is really important, remember, to achieve that, you need to have discipline and courage, and then you can go ahead with it. Now, I would like to tell a beautiful inspirational story of how both motivation and goal setting can work together. I think you all heard about Thomas Edison. He is an American inventor and he had more than 1,000 US patents to his name. He has invented the light bulb. However, when he was in school, his mind was always wandering. So teachers felt that he was too stupid to learn anything and he was sent home. And he was eventually homeschooled by his mother. Now he invented light bulb. And after how many times? After failing 10,000 times. He did not give up because the goal was motivated through his intrinsic motivation. It was his interest that he wanted to invent a light bulb. And when somebody asked him, were you not dejected when you lost so many times? He said, why do you think? He said, every time I failed, I motivated myself by saying that I did not fail, but I am showing to others not to follow this method to invent light bulb. So you see, his goal was there, that he always worked with a goal, with a plan in his mind to invent a light bulb. And every time he failed, he motivated saying he did not fail, but he is teaching to the world that he is doing this for the world, right? So in conclusion, goal setting is not just about identifying what you want to achieve, but also how you will achieve it and measure that achievement, right? So beginners require very short term, easily achieved goals to boost their self-confidence, right? Whereas the experienced individual need more challenging yet realistic goals. So first, what you have to do is that, have small goals in your life. Try to achieve those goals. as and when you're achieving your short-term goals, what will happen is that your confidence will grow, and then you can go for challenging long-term goals, right? Now, I would like to conclude by saying that live a life you can be proud of, step by step, and one goal at a time. You will have your goal, right? So, what you have to do is that you need to first motivate yourself. You have to have uh, motivation in you. So, what is motivation? Motivation is nothing but a desire to do something that you want to do out of your willingness, right? So, there are two types of motivations, that is intrinsic motivation that comes out of your interest, right? And it is easier to achieve your goal if it comes out of your intrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is nothing but where you do to gain a grade, or you run a race to get a match. So with external rewards, that motivates you. But what we learn is that extrinsic motivation can only take you up to a certain amount of time. It is always better to believe in yourself and to have intrinsic motivation to have your goals. So, always we should try to have intrinsic motivation and try to seek motivation from every opportunity that you get, from every place that you get, right? And we need motivation in every day of our life, right? From today, I would need motivation to do something from morning to evening. I would need motivation what I will do for the next 14 days to teach you, right? And you need motivation to pass your semester exam. You need motivation to how to prepare your lessons, or you need motivation to learn to speak English language. So don't give up if you fail. Keep on working so that you achieve your goal. Once you have achieved that skill of motivating yourself, you can motivate others too. And this is the best employable skill that an employer will look. And once your motivation is pepped up, then it will help you to set your goal. Now start setting your goal. And how should you set? You have two types of goals: short term goals and long term goals, right? Then how, there are certain steps that you have to do. You have to plan for your goal, plan very meticulously, look at what are the problems that are going to come, how you can overcome these problems, how you can take help from your friends, how you can achieve your goal. So this is how you have to have a proper goal in your life. If you don't have a proper goal, if you don't have a proper planning, then we cannot achieve success in our life. Great people like Mahatma Gandhi or Abdul Kalam all had this. They were good motivators. They were self-motivated. They not only self-motivated themselves, but they motivated others who came, whom they met. So self-motivation leads to motivating the team. And finally, they could achieve what was impossible. Mahatma Gandhi could bring independence to India through non-violence. A thing which was not visible became visible, right? Invisible, that was invisible. People said we cannot achieve motivation through this. So in conclusion, motivation is all around you, right from your WhatsApp messages to learning from your parents life, experiences of your own self. So it depends on how you're willing to look beyond the ordinary and motivate yourself and achieve your goals. So this is all. I hope I have helped you in in making you understand these goals. And students, it is always, remember, anyone can acquire this skill. So get up and try to motivate yourself every day. Make a plan for yourself, chalk out a plan, and reach your goal. Thank you very much once again. Stay safe and stay at home and try to be away from this COVID-19. Wear your masks whenever you're going out and maintain social distancing, right? Don't try to be very close with your friends. Thank you very much for listening to me. Uh, if you have any doubts, you can look at the video and put it on the WhatsApp group that we have, and I will clear the doubts. I think I've made it very clear to you all. Thank you once again.